Well, get your gloves and your sunflower seeds. We are headed out to the ballpark just 2 days away from the official start to the MLB season, with opening day getting underway later this week. All 28 teams taking the diamond on March 27th, with the exception of Tampa Bay and Colorado. Of course, the Dodgers picking up where they left off as World Series favorites to win the whole thing. There you see the numbers there at plus 240. They've already got 2 wins on the young season. They beat the Cubs in Japan, so a little bit of an early start for them. The biggest question is going to be who on earth can stop them. So there's a look at the odds. The Braves with the second shortest there at plus 850. You've also got the Yanks, Phillies, Mets, and O's all in the conversation. Let's break down some way too early playoff predictions as we welcome in CBS Sports national baseball writer Julian McWilliams. He comes to us after stops with the Red Sox and the A's. So, Julian, we are excited to have you. I'm excited to go through your predictions because I think some fans at home are going to be a little bit surprised. But nonetheless, let's get started over in the AL. We're talking division champs first. I think last year the big surprise was the Guardians having such a fantastic season. But you can never count out the Yankees when it comes to AL baseball, even with some injuries here. Give us the scouting report. How are you feeling when it comes to the playoffs there?
Yeah, I know the Yankees just always figure out a way to get there. I think, if dating back, I think they missed the playoffs, twice in the last, 20 or some odd years. So there's a lot there for them to get through the regular season. Now, when they get to the postseason, it's a different beast, right? We're looking at, Aaron Judge hasn't showed up in the postseason. I don't think they have enough pitching to get through. But ultimately, I think they'll get enough to get through in the regular season.
Yeah, taking a look there at some of those notable injuries. I mentioned it. Garrett Cole was the early surprise there at season-ending Tommy John surgery. Giancarlo Stanton, Luis Gil, the pitcher there, and of course Clark Schmidt rounding out some of the early difficulties there when it comes to the Yankees. We're going to push ahead, Julian, and talk about the wild card round. Last year we saw the Astros bounce by the Tigers early. We also saw a low-scoring affair between the Royals and the O's. That was a year ago, Julian, but when it comes to Baltimore, kind of the similar conversation there, where they're really hot in the regular season and then the postseason happens and we kind of lose focus there. Why are you backing the O's when it comes to the wild card race?
I would say they would win the division, but I think the Orioles' problem is they don't have enough pitching, right? I mean, I think this is their window to win, so to speak, and I think they have enough, again, to get through the regular season because they have Gunnar Henderson. Obviously, you have Adley Rutschman, who's probably one of the best catchers in the game, if not the best game caller in the game. So I think when you look at that from that perspective, you have to have them in there somewhere. I would have them to win the division, but they just don't have the pitching to make up for it. They lost Corbin Burns, and I think the Red Sox will ultimately be the first wild card. But yeah, I mean, I think the Orioles are in a good position to make it to the postseason, but they just don't have enough necessary to make that run.
Maybe they could borrow some pitchers from the Dodgers because it seems like they got pitchers to spare everywhere. We're going to talk about them in just a minute. You mentioned the Red Sox, though, Boston and the Guardians, the other wild card teams that you have in the AL. But the team you're backing the most, you kind of just talked about him there, and that is the Boston Red Sox. What makes you so confident that this is the year for Boston?
Look, if healthy, I think they're the team to beat. I think in the American League. I think if you have Garrett Crochet, who I saw pitch in spring training, he's as dominant as they come. Walker Buehler, who's back. The Lucas Giolito, Tanner Houck. I think their pitching depth is really, really deep. Now, if you go over to the lineup, the Red Sox always hit. That's never been their problem. So I think that's going to be there. They have Alex Bregman now, who's a leader in the clubhouse. They were missing that last year. So if you're looking at it in its totality, I think the Red Sox from top to bottom have the deepest team. However, it's about them staying healthy.
Yeah, got to stay healthy, especially when it counts. That seems to be a topic of conversation always when we get to the postseason. I see you as well making friends with our good pal Will Middlebrooks, who also loves the Red Sox for personal reasons, obviously. So we'll see how that shakes out. Let's go to the other side of the bracket, though. We're going to do the same thing for the National League. It takes us back to the division, Julian. It's hard to root against the Dodgers for insert reason here, whether it's the pitching staff, whether it's the hitting staff, whether it's the coaching. My question to you, though, do you think this is another year where they run away with the West, or is it going to be a little bit tighter than maybe people are expecting?
I think they run away with the West. I'm not sure if they'll win it all, right? Because again, it's all about health. But if you're looking at a team that's dominant, right, it's the Dodgers. I mean, even if you go out to the spring training, it was like the Beatles. You have everybody there. You have Yamamoto, you have Ohtani, you have Mookie Betts. But ultimately, I think they're the team to beat in the division, and I think, in the league. But honestly, I don't know if they have if they'll win in the World Series again, because obviously that's tough to do.
Yeah, we're going to get to that in just a minute, Julian. We call that a deep tease. In the meantime, let's jump ahead to your wild card predictions. A year ago, we saw the Padres, the Braves, and the Mets arrive in 2024. The big surprise here, though, Julian, no Mets in 2025, according to your prediction. So you're telling me Juan Soto is left short again, my guy?
I just don't believe in the pitching, and I think their pitching is not that deep. When you look at their pitching staff, they lost Frankie Montas. They're going to lose Sean Manaea for a portion of the season, although it's not meant to be for so long. They have Clay Holmes starting, who's never really been a starter for his career. Yes, he's had a great spring training, but it's just spring training. I need to see some pitching, and ultimately I think they'll score a lot of runs, but I'm not sure where their pitching comes from.
Yeah, got to have that pitching. I'm sure Juan Soto is listening to this very closely, maybe trying to prove us wrong as we get a little bit closer there. All right, you talked about the Dodgers. We know what they bring to the table, right, when it comes to a championship caliber roster. So I think when I ask you who wins the NL pennant, most people would expect it to be LA. However, we did see on the odds leading into this segment that the Braves there were the second shortest, right behind. That's the team that you're actually backing when it comes to winning over in the National League. So tell the fans at home what you're seeing out of the Braves that makes you believe in them over the Dodgers.
I just think that we've just forgotten about the Braves and all this, right? I mean, I think they lost Ronald Acuna Jr. to an ACL tear last year. They didn't have Spencer Strider, so they have those two guys back. And I always just think the homegrown guys just have a way of getting this stuff done. Yes, Matt Olson came over from the A's, but he's an Atlanta guy, and you're looking at this team, and for just the depth of their organization. This is one of the premier organizations. I think they're not too far from their last World Series title, and ultimately I think they have the pitching and just in the roster depth to get it done.
Yeah, their last title coming in 21, I believe, there. So they're not far removed from being a championship caliber team. So here's what we've got in your way too early playoff predictions. We get a Red Sox Braves World Series, two wild card teams that we went through according to your prediction. So Red Sox Braves here, who gets your nod?
I'm going with the Braves. I think that's the team to beat, and I think that's a team that's hungry enough. I think last year was sort of a slap in the face, and they felt like they embarrassed themselves by not making it far further than what they did. So I think they come back with a vengeance this year.
All right, the Braves winning the 2025 World Series. I'm not going to lie, Julian, I didn't have it on my bingo card, but I certainly appreciate the chaos. We love to see it. Thanks so much for your time here on CBS Sports HQ. Want to take you back through Julian McWilliams' MLB playoff predictions. There is the map, the big headliners there. Sorry, Juan Soto, no World Series for you. Instead, it is the Red Sox getting the nod there over in the AL. Then on the NL, it's the Braves shocking everybody, and they win the World Series in 2025.